What up, it's Dane. In this video I'm going to be telling you how to diet without tracking your calories, right? So basically you can lose weight without tracking your calories, going throughout the whole day, using your phone, scanning the stuff, weighing the food. This is possible, right? So I'll only be telling you probably the easiest way and the fastest way to lose weight without doing this tiring, boring old shit, right? And I'm not shitting on it too much because I do it myself, tracking your calories, and I do recommend people do this just to give them, give yourself awareness of how much you're actually eating just for a few weeks, even maybe 1 month. And then say for example you see, oh, one chicken breast is say 300 calories, okay, next time I have a meal, oh, this whole meal 600 calories. So it just gives you awareness. So anyway, to get straight to the point, you can definitely lose fat without tracking your calories by doing this. Just eat the majority of your diet vegetables and fruits, right? I don't know about you, man, but I've never heard of anyone getting fat on a vegetable and fruit diet. And first of all, if anyone tells you, say, mushrooms make you fat or any vegetable makes you fat, they chat shit. In fact, if they say any food makes you fat, they talk rubbish. No food makes you fat unless you're overconsuming. That being said, vegetables and fruits are very, very, very hard to overconsume, especially vegetables, right? Some fruits are not too hard to overconsume, like bananas, say 100 calories depending on the size of it, obviously, and you can have like 5 bananas and not even be full yet. So be careful with the fruits. When it comes to fruits, I just generally recommend you stick to the berries. So raspberries, blackberries, especially strawberries, they're really good. All the kind of berries that's real good if you're on a diet. And that's the kind of bonus tip, man, I never got, so you're lucky about that one. And then vegetables, if you go to the extremities, you can go just all green vegetables. They generally lower in calories. However, just eat any vegetables that you enjoy, because as always, like I said, the best diet is the one that you enjoy. The ketogenic diet, the Atkins diet, all the kind of, go on a diet if you enjoy it, right? Just go on it, it will work for you. If you don't go on a diet you don't enjoy, that's basically what I'm trying to tell you. However, the baseline and the summary of this video is that you can definitely lose weight without tracking calories. However, I do recommend you track your calories for maybe at least 2 weeks just to give yourself awareness. So the foods you should be eating are lean protein, say about 50% of your diet. Your protein intake should be about 1 gram per pound of body weight minimum. The reason why I'm saying minimum is because when dieting, I actually recommend a higher protein intake because it provides more satiety, and obviously if you're trying to build muscle, it will minimize the muscle loss when it comes to fat loss. So keep the protein intake really high. And for those of you who are into fitness, you go to the gym and stuff like this, protein intake about, say, even 1.2 grams. I go if your calorie deficit is really aggressive. And if you don't know what I mean by this, to get your calorie deficit, and the calorie deficit is the #1 factor when it comes to fat loss, you do 15 times your body weight in pounds. That's your calorie maintenance. That's how many calories you need to consume per day to maintain your weight, minus about 500. That's your calorie deficit. If you minus that number by 1,000, that's called an aggressive calorie deficit. So the bigger the number, the more aggressive, and the more aggressive, the higher protein intake should be. So protein intake should generally be high. What protein sources should you consume when you're dieting without tracking your calories? Generally, chicken breasts don't have chicken thighs. Chicken thighs will be high in calories. They'll be harder to track with your eyeball. And one thing I have to mention as well, if you're going to diet without tracking your calories, right, at least look at the food packaging label just for a few seconds, just to get a bit of an awareness of how many, say 100 grams of chicken is how many calories, right, just to get a little bit of awareness at least. So anyway, some food sources that you can eat are chicken breast, tuna, any white fish. Remember, no batter on a fish. That's a big mistake a lot of people make as well. You can of course have this and you will still lose weight, because like I said, no food actually makes you fat. However, we just try to keep the calories real low here because we're not tracking stuff. Basically, we're going on almost like a little bit of a crash diet in a way. It's not really a crash diet, but it's hard to sustain for a prolonged period of time because you're eating foods that you don't really enjoy all the time, right? So that's basically what I recommend, because if you just say you do if it fits your macros and you've never actually tracked your calories and you're just going to go on if it fits your macros diet, you're just going to be like, oh yeah, chocolate fits my macros, blah blah blah, and then meanwhile you're blowing your diet. So that's food sources: chicken, tuna, whitefish, turkey steaks, turkey mince, beef mince, even some lean steaks, sirloin steaks, all those kinds of lean proteins. And then for the carbohydrate sources, I generally recommend potatoes, sweet potatoes, and no, sweet potatoes aren't any really better than potatoes. It doesn't really matter. The reason why I'm saying eat potatoes, and don't believe the stupid myth that people say potatoes make you fat. They do not make you fat. Like I already said, no food makes you fat. It's the overconsumption of food that makes you fat. Some foods are harder to overconsume than others. Like vegetables are so hard to what can I speak, man? To overconsume, whereas chocolate is very easy to overconsume. So potatoes actually provide a very high satiety. If you type on Google the satiety index, you'll see potatoes is like 328%, which is extremely high. And you probably noticed this yourself if you have like a baked potato. This shit's really high. And when I say potatoes, man, I don't mean potato chips, so keep that in mind. Sweet potatoes, I generally stay away from rice and pasta. Some people eat rice when they're gonna diet, which is fine. However, when we not trying to track calories, you do want to keep the carbohydrates kind of low as well, because they can become very hard not to overconsume when we're not tracking right. So potatoes, sweet potatoes are probably the main carbohydrate source. Oats as well, however, do be careful with oats as well. If you're like me and you love that shit too much, you can overconsume that. So anyway, that's basically what food sources you should eat, and then every single vegetable you're allowed to eat. Fruits, remember, keep it raspberries, blackberries, all the berries, they'll be good. In fact, apples, bananas, any single fruit is better than chocolate, right? So one little tip as well, fruits does help the cravings for chocolate and all those junk food. So if you're getting those cravings, have a piece of fruit, maybe put some honey on that shit, and your cravings might go. So anyway, and that's basically how to go on a diet without tracking your calories, right? And for me, this was quite a value packed video. So if you enjoyed it, comment down below, leave me some video suggestions, man, because I'm going to be honest with you, man, I was sitting down here half an hour thinking of what video to make for you now. So anyway, subscribe down below, stay positive, stay smiling, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.